Hey folks, I just want to make something perfectly clear. And a lot of people say, why don't I get a little bit more political in my videos? And the reason why I really truly don't is we have something that's called, read that, it's probably upside down or backwards for you. But this is the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution. All right. Now, if you have not read this and are not familiar with this, I urge you to. Um, a lot of people say, what entails us to a 30-round magazine? Uh, what uh, what tells us that we cannot have total control of our bodies and be allowed to have all the abortions we want? What all kinds of things, whether it's religion and politics. You can take any topic, any statistic, anything. And I'm here to tell you that I'm going to disagree whether it's George Bush Jr., whether it's Barack Obama. I am not, I hate to have to be able to defend myself. I am not a racist. I am not a gun-toting maniac. I am not for the death of children, but I am for common sense. Any legislation, whether it's telling me that I cannot have a 30-round magazine, or that I have to pay for somebody's abortions, or the expansion of the federal government like our last president did, or it's something that is telling me how I can utilize my own private property, as long as I'm not killing somebody or hurting somebody. Now, if they can prove in a federal court that, for instance, me pumping poison into my backyard is hurting my next door neighbor, that's a different story. I'm always going to side with this Constitution, and people say, why? Okay, this Constitution was written by a bunch of old racist men, supposedly, and that things have changed. They didn't mean, and I'm going to take the gun issue, I'm going to stay on the gun issue the most because this is something that's always in the news. A lot of people say, well, why do you need a 30-round magazine? Okay, well, our gun rights have nothing to do with hunting, and it doesn't mean that I'm going to take up arms against my government. It also, and I also know that civilians against a well-organized SWAT team do not stand a chance. I'm in the military, I know that. I believe, and a lot of people say, well, we are the most advanced society that have ever walked the face of the earth. Why do we not, for instance, provide our people with health care? Okay? Why doesn't our government mandate that we give them money and for them to dole out health care to individuals? We are a free country. We have rights, and my right to choose, okay, to not have health care is my right. Now, if other people end up paying for my health care, because you can't just show up to a hospital and let the person die, all right, do I feel that that is a problem? Yes, that is a problem, because we just can't let people go to the hospital and die on us, right? But I do not believe that the federal government, okay, should have the right to mandate that we all buy health care. Now, we can do it per states, all right? And the reason why that would work is, for instance, if in California they say, no, if you show up to a hospital and you have not paid for that, if you do not have insurance, we are going to let you die. So California says, we're going to let you die. And Texas says, we're not going to let you die. You, as an American, have a choice to move to California or to move to Texas. All right? Well, California lets people die and Texas doesn't. And in our country, we have what's called the United States. The United States means that we have a choice, and we don't have to run to another country to find that perfect place. We can just move to another state. I am for people that are the same sex. If they want to get married, go right ahead. I do not need the federal government to mandate what I should support or what I should believe. All right, now people need to understand this. A lot of people watch my videos or see my Facebook posts, and with this new Google, everything's intertwined. So that's why I'm making this video. So I just don't need a federal government, an all-encompassing federal government that tells me what I need to do. Okay, because there's nowhere to run. I can't run to the United Kingdom because they're already socialist. I can't run to Canada. All right, but I can leave this state if I don't like it. That's the beautiful thing of a free country. All right, and the fact that we have so many states to pick from. All right, now I guarantee that if a certain part of a certain state let people go to the hospitals and completely die on them, okay, people would choose probably not to support that state. And a good example of that is, for instance, if you don't like Walmart, you will shop at Kmart. If you don't shop at Kmart, you'll shop at Target. We have choice. All right? Because the federal government one day could come out and say, well, you know what? If we just got rid of all those private companies, why don't we have just a federal run store, a superstore? A superstore that could take all these discounts and put it into one store so we could get toilet paper as cheap as possible by just going to this one store. Well, maybe I don't like the way that store is decorated. Maybe I don't like the way they treat their customers. Where do I run? There is nowhere to run. I've lost choice. So, where does this stop? Where does this end? It's real easy. I do agree with the liberals. We do live in a very advanced state. We are smart enough at this point in our history, 2013, to be able to put a stop to this gun violence and to help people with health care by not interfering with our individual rights. What do I mean by that? We don't need to attack the gun itself. We don't need to attack or solve everybody's problem with giving them federally insured government health care. We do not need to do this. So anything, whether they're Republican or Democrat, if they are interfering or watering down my rights that are in this very thin book, okay, I am not going to support them. And unfortunately, we live in a world right now where our president is half white and half black, which makes him black. And everybody knows that. It's been that way forever. Okay? All right? I am Irish. I came here as an immigrant. Okay? I was persecuted just like the blacks were, except for slavery. We're not to slavery. Half of my family went to the West Coast. Half of my family stayed on the East Coast. The ones that stayed on the East Coast changed their name. The reason they changed their name is because they wanted to seem more European. All right? Just like the Italians came here, they didn't really change anything. They basically just said, shove it. All right? So, but the difference is the color of my skin. Let's use common sense. It's easier for me as a white male, Irish or not, to blend in with all the other whites. All right? You might not agree with that, but let's just use common sense here. So, to keep it short and simple, if you are interfering with any of these God-given, or how I like to say it, personal rights, all right, I'm not going to support it. Okay? Take the gun issue. We can maybe have hotlines for people to call that instead of killing everybody, they can call this hotline and talk to a professional or a non-professional, whatever. Armed guards at schools. This last shooting was stopped by I think a retired sheriff, all right, that put a bullet in the kid's head. Problem solved. Barack Obama's children are protected by armed guards. Why can't mine? Why? Because my school doesn't allow guns. All right? That bothers me. All right? If I had a choice, I would not have my daughter go to that school. I would have her go to the school that allows to have armed guards. But I pay $6,000 in property tax every year, and that money goes to that particular school down the street, and I have no choice unless I want to take that $6,000 I spend every year on taxes and blow it down the tubes and pay $5-10 grand for a private school, which now I can't afford because I'm busy giving half my money to the federal government. So I have lost choice. So I don't have that choice. Think about it. So before you argue with me on anything, sorry, lost my feed. Before you argue with me on anything, have you read this? And is that new legislation or regulation or law going to water down my rights that are guaranteed to me? If they're not going to, all right, maybe it's a good piece of legislation, all right? But we are an advanced society. We are advanced. We are very smart. We've got these gigantic brains, all right? Why do we need to water down these rights? I turn on MSNBC and I can't believe some of the guests they have on there. Freedom of speech. All right? If it was up to me, maybe I'd say I don't want that individual on TV spouting all those lies. Fox News, same thing. Fox News has some people on there that I just completely disagree with. But it's not up to me. I can change the channel. I could say if I don't want to listen to the MSNBC guy, I can change it to CBS. All right? So that's where I'm coming from. I'm not a gun nut. I'm not a racist. I'm nothing. I am for this, the Constitution of the United States. If you get it, think about it. These are our rights. These are what have, this book right here is what the government can't do to us. This ties their hand. This is what makes it where Barack Obama or George Bush cannot be king and just make up laws and rules because he feels it's not being expedient enough going through Congress or the Senate. This is not a rant. This is where I come from. I think it's a good point. Okay? I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I might vote a certain party line because I feel that they're closer to what I like. But I'm going to tell you right now, both our parties are stomping all over this. And one day our rights might be so watered down where we don't have a right. All right? So if they can take that Second Amendment and water it down, the next thing you know is they're going to be stopping people they feel have something in their pocket and just start searching them right there on the street. Oh, wait a second. That's happening in New York right now. Weird. Or they might completely disarm a complete city. But the beautiful thing about New York is if you don't like that, you can leave. But I will still say something bad about that. And hopefully the people that live there wake up so we can vote with our feet. Because if nobody chooses to live in a city like that, maybe New York is going to start scratching their head. Okay, so I'm going to stop the politic thing because my politics are real easy. It's in this little tiny book. Pick yourself up one, read it, and understand it. And if you don't understand why why this book was written, you need to study our history and understand that every single one of these rights is born out of blood. People have died for this. Thousands of people have died to put this Constitution into effect. All right? So a few mass shootings that kill wonderful children, all right, as sad as it is no reason to change what thousands of men and women and children died for. Okay? Hope you guys get it. Later.